Hello and welcome. In this highlight, or I should say podcast, I'll be going over the difference between free to play, buying a one of the structure decks, and somebody that is not free to play, that is more pay to win, or, you know, more of pay to play, in a sense, buying one of these structure decks. These structure decks are good for newer players, yes, but more in a nutshell, they're better for those that are willing to pay cash. Now, why do I say that? It is because of the fact that in each of the structure decks, as I'm going to show, they cost you gems the first time. One buy of the structure deck costs you gems, but the rest of it you have to buy in cash. Now, as a free to play player, a lot of people say, okay, go and buy the structure decks. They give you a deck you can use, the whole deal. But the thing is, that's only one. And a lot of the time for the structure decks, you need more than just one copy of it to have a decent deck, or even a competitive deck. So, as a free to play player, really, the structure decks are not worth it. They actually limit you because you'll only get so many gems right off the bat. And if you go for, say, like the EX decks or the normal decks, which are 500 gems, or the EX, which is 1,000 gems, you are then limiting yourself. And in limiting yourself like that, you're also wasting your resources on something that you're not going to be able to play. And if you're not able to play it, then why are you even getting it? Therefore, for free to play players, 9 times out of 10, getting one of the structure decks is not good. Now, if you're willing to put money into the game, you're willing to go and put, say, $5, $10, $15, $20 into the game, you can actually go and have a competitive deck right off the bat. You can have a deck that will get you in a very good position to play rank, go and farm, do whatever you want. All it's going to cost you is $20 or a little more or less or more, depending on what you're looking for. So, because of that, I ask you, if you are free to play, do not let anybody convince you to buy a structure deck. Structure decks are not going to help you. They give you one copy of the deck, like I said, and then you are out of anything really any good. Now, as a free to play player, you might be asking yourself, okay, so what do I go and do? Because I have all these gems, I have no knowledge of the game, and yet I don't know what to get. As a free to play player, you should be going and asking those in the community, or going looking for information on different sites. Now, if you're not looking for this information, then you are going to be in a position where you've wasted all your gems, you've wasted your time, you wasted your effort, and you're kind of stuck in a position of now I have to go and start with nothing but this handful of cards that don't do me anything. And nobody wants to be in a position like that, especially when you're starting out in a new game that you have no clue really how to do anything in it. If you're wondering, okay, so how do I choose a deck to go for if I can't go and get the structures? That's easy. You go, like I said, ask those in the community for their information. What do they tell you? What do they tell you? They might tell you, okay, here's the decks that are good right now that you can go into to get. Sometimes, yes, they'll tell you to go back into a certain structure. Maybe one of those structures is good for you as a beginning player, but not always. But it's not going to be a complete deck. And we're looking for you, who is a free to play player, a complete deck. A deck that you can use your gems and have a complete deck without going and saying, well, I only have like 1/3 of my deck. How do I go and get the rest of it? So, with that, now there's a couple different ways to figure out what deck you should be going for. One, have you played any type of card games in the past? If yes, what are they? And if so, what type of playstyle did you play in those card games? Now, if you've never played any card games in the past, what type of games have you played in the past that have a certain style to them? Like, what games do you normally play? Do you play like first person shooters? Do you play more RPGs? Do you play more of RTS games? Or maybe you play more strategy games? Anything like that. Okay, you have? Alright, great. Now, what how did you play in those games? Try and find a comparison between that game and what's in our game in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh has many different playstyles. There's one turn kills, which basically, if I remember right, I consider it like a DPS. You are more aggressive with DPS. That's one turn kills. Aggro, which is aggressive plays. Beatdown, which is more playing heavy, a lot of attacks, getting in, beating the living crap out of your opponent, and getting out. Or maybe you're more into playing the sniper, the long game. That is more the control decks. Those are more the stall, or maybe the burn, or maybe the mid game type of decks. Maybe you're into, spending a lot of resources to gain a lot of resources. That could be also control. Maybe you're into being, for some reason, a tank, taking a lot of damage, but then dishing out a severe amount of damage to your opponent. That's the more aggro decks. That's the decks that can go and just dish out a lot of damage to your opponent. So that's how to convey to those that you're talking to, hey, this is the type of what I'm used to. This is what I normally play. I want to play something that kind of will go and fit with my how I normally play when I'm playing this game. And with doing that, you'll be able to go and find something that you can have fun, you can go and really enjoy the game, and go and really get into playing the game big time because you end up enjoying it. And I want at least for you to go and want to enjoy the game. So with that, if you can enjoy the game, then yes, you can go and continuously play the game. Because I know personally, I want you newer players to come into the game, enjoy it, and continue to enjoy it. Not to get a deck you don't enjoy, play it for a couple months, and then go, I don't want to play anymore. Because none of us in this community want you to feel discouraged from playing or not have fun playing. We want you as newer players to have fun. And even the older players to have fun. We want the game to be fun. If someone says to you, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not fun, it's competitive, it shouldn't be fun, that really shouldn't be the mindset of the game. Some have that mindset, but it shouldn't be the mindset. Now, for the more pay-to-play players, the ones that are willing to drop cash on the game, that are willing to go spend, like, say, $20 on the structures and in the game and stuff like that, or more or less, depending on how much you want to spend, the structures are perfect. Because 9 times out of 10, the structures you need 3 of to really play the deck, to really get the core of the deck. Not always, but 9 times out of 10. And because of this, going and be able to use some cash to do that gives you a leg up. That's basically the difference between those that are free to play. They have to grind a lot more, but they get something that is really personal to them. But you guys get something personal to yourselves because you can buy these structure decks that probably do fit you. Now, as newer players that are willing to do that, you want to find a deck that is worth the purchase. You don't want to just go and say, okay, I dropped like $20 on a deck that I don't care about. Okay, 2 months later, I spent $20 on something I don't really care for. I don't want that for you guys either. I want you guys to be able to go and pick up the deck, play it, and go, oh my god, I love this deck. I can't wait to go and continuously play it. And that's what I always want. I want you guys, as newer players that are pay to play or pay to win, maybe, who knows, to go and still enjoy your purchase. Because it's a purchase. You're not going to go and buy a car that you don't like. You're not going to go and find the first car and go, oh, okay, this one's good. I don't really care for it, but I need a car, so here we go. No, this is something for you to enjoy. It's not a utility. It's not something where you need it excessively. This is something for you to enjoy. So, let's find you something that you enjoy. Just like the players that are free to play, let's find you something that you can enjoy just like them. Same process. What have you played in the past? Have you played Yu-Gi-Oh! In the past? Have you not? Have you played in card games before in the past? Have you played any other type of games in the past? The same process. Yes? No? What type? What did you play in those games? Same process. And doing so, we can find you, if not a structured deck that's to your liking, we can help you go down the route of finding something in one of the boxes in the game that is to your play style. So, in a nutshell, for anybody that is watching this or listening in, structure decks for this game all depend on really on what you feel Do you feel like you want to put money into the game? No? Okay. Then structure deck's not for you. Are you willing to put money into the game? Then maybe a structure deck is for you. Again, not always. A structure deck might not always be the case. Might not always be something that you need all the time. But sometimes these structure decks actually come with something really nice. For those that are newer or those that are more vets, that are maybe haven't gone back to get those cards in these boxes. Because a lot of the time, these structure decks come with cards that have already been released at one point or another in the game. Take the one that we see in front of us right now. Only 4 of the cards that you see in this structure were never released. Everything else you can get by just going into a box. But if this box becomes a more relevant to what's going on, 9 times out of 10, those cards that were in that box that you can't get anywhere else made the deck worth going in for the structure to get those cards. So, to sum it up, well, yes, free to play, you could go and get one of these structures to give you some more cards. It's kind of wasting your gems and effort and time to do so, but it might give you some cards that might be worth it, but normally no. For those that are willing to pay, these structures 9 times out of 10 will be worthwhile to you because a lot of these decks actually were very strong at the time of their release in some way, and sometimes they come back into relevance just because of something that's released later on in the game. And at that point, for you that are putting money into it, it's an investment into getting something more out of your purchase. So, to anybody that was watching or listening, thank you so much for taking the time to hang back, relax, and take a look. I am Professor Graham. I stream from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. most times on Monday through Friday. And I'm hoping to do more of these. Everybody that was watching, thank you so much. You have a good one.